Hey guys, just gonna stop in and do a video on anger. This is gonna be like part one of several. The first process of anger that I want to talk about is for me, I went from being someone who was invisible. I didn't know I was invisible at the time, to someone who became very visible to the public. So I'm just going to talk about that for a little bit. Before I had weight loss surgery, I had a bigger than life personality. Still kind of do, but I've learned that a lot of it was just trying to get noticed and to get people to see me. I was a girl who would just walk up to you and start a conversation because no one was going to walk up to me and start a conversation. It wasn't until I'd lost 70 pounds. I lost 132 altogether, but it started for me right about the 70-pound mark when I started being noticed, and not just by men. I mean, it was, women, public, society in general, and I really realized how invisible I had been prior to. Simple stuff. I would walk into Quick Trip and get waited on before somebody else that had been standing there previously. I would walk into a place and someone would grab the door for me. I dropped my keys once and 3 people went down to get them. I can kind of laugh about this now, but at the time, I became very bitter of the fact that I was pretty sure that 70 pounds prior to, nobody would have been doing those things. Nobody had been grabbing my keys. Nobody had grabbed my doors my entire life. I was 35 years old, so no one had ever done that for me, and all of a sudden it was like I'm getting bumped to the beginning of the line and you're grabbing my door, and this is because the way I look now. And so somehow I wasn't as significant before this moment. That's frustrating. That's angry. That is, I got very angry at people for that kind of attitude. It's kind of like you see those social experiments where the skinny pretty girl puts on a fat suit and walks around and see how she's treated. Well, this weight loss journey for me was that social experiment going the other way around. I had been, the girl in the fat suit for 35 years, and now all of a sudden, I was 70 pounds lighter, and now I was good enough to get attention that I wasn't getting before. And that made me angry. It made me very angry. I had a male friend that I had had a huge crush on like 5 years prior to. And of course, he didn't have the time of day for me. And when I lost 70 pounds, he said, we've been friends for 5 years. Why have we never dated? And of course, I just laughed and said, I don't know. But what I really wanted to say is because I was fat and you wouldn't have dated me then. You didn't look at me like that then. I was just a friend because, I was fat. So I was angry a lot at that. I was angry a lot at every man that hit on me. I was just angry, and I was going through a lot of that bitterness and angerness. And I was very fortunate. I had a friend that sat me down one day and said, Brandy, you've got to give this up. You cannot be this angry at the world for treating you differently. The world sees you for who you are now. They don't know who you were then. And you are putting behaviors of other people on people who didn't know you then. So, the guys asking you out, they never knew you were fat. They like you the way you are now, and that's fine. And I understand why you're angry and kind of bitter that, all of a sudden you're getting attention that you weren't before, and that's completely normal, and society is wrong in that sense. But you can't live your life being that angry at these situations that are going on. You can just make sure that you grab the door for someone, you talk to someone, you let someone cut in front of you in line, and try to offset the injustice that's going on for anybody who is overweight. It doesn't matter how long that I am a skinny girl now. In my head, psychologically, I still hold on to the way it felt to be the fat girl, and I will go out of my way to make sure that people who are overweight, and honestly, a lot of people, it's more of a perception of them being overweight, are not treated invisible. So I do challenge you to do that. Reach out to people when you are out in public and do something nice for them, because chances are they're invisible and you're going through a process where you're going to become very visible to people, and it's going to be strange and it's going to be new. So pay that forward to other people, and then that helps with the bitterness and the anger you kind of feel with that. Curious, anybody else out there who have gone through this journey? I mean, do you guys feel that way? Like people treat you completely different now? Go ahead, comment, post, send me a private message. I'm good with that. Like, subscribe, and ask me questions. There are a lot more things that get frustrating with this surgery. I'm going to do a video here in a couple days about the frustrations of having to constantly explain your eating habits and your behaviors to people, because there's something else that can get pretty frustrating. So we'll talk about that later, but I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you then.